Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gauravaye Pushpavanto Chitro Shando Tamonido Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangulam Gayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. Again, we welcome everyone to this special session on Jiva Daya, the teachings of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So last time in our session, we heard how Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he has stressed the importance of Vaishnava Seva. How do we serve the Vaishnavas? With what mood we serve the Vaishnavas? And we heard it directly from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, such a wonderful scripture. Srila Prabhupada has described it as the PhD of all spiritual education. The Bhagavad Gita being the boat that carries us across the material ocean to the spiritual world. The Srimad Bhagavatam, which is like the bridge that carries us across the material ocean to the spiritual world. Whereas the specialty of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is such a supreme literature that simply by tasting just a little bit of the nectar in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the entire material ocean can completely dry up and it can become a desert, and we can just dance our way across it by the mercy of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada, and we can, by the association of the sadhus, we can just dance our way across the material ocean. By the way, we had concluded in our last session that how each and every verse of Sri Shikshashtakam, it correlates directly with the verses and the mood of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu and the verses that are recited by the gopis and Srimati Radharani, which are described in the Sri Gopi Geet in the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially the third verse, which we stressed last time, that should be the mood while we serve the devotees, Srinada Pishunichena, being more humble than a blade of grass and expecting no respect for oneself, but giving all respect to others. Only then we can be in a pure state of heart so that we can chant the holy names constantly and also serve the Vaishnavas with a very sweet and clean heart. So this particular verse, it actually directly correlates with the sixth verse that Srimati Radharani and the gopis, they prayed to Krishna. What did they say? They said that Krishna, you can destroy the suffering of the people of Vraja. And you are our hero, Krishna. You are our hero. And your smile actually has the potency to destroy all kinds of false pride. So when the false pride in your devotees is destroyed just by gazing at your smile, then we'll be able to actually serve you. So this is the glory of Krishna's smile, the gopis are saying. How do they say it? Vraja janartiham virayoshita nija jana smaya dvamsana smita bhaja sakhe kinkari smano jalaruhananam charudarshaya. Srimati Radharani is saying that only how can we serve properly? How can we be a kinkari? Means a servant. How can we be a servant? Only when we can destroy our false pride. So when we take darshan of the Supreme Lord, when we take darshan of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, of Sri Krishna, let us try to meditate on the sweet smile, because that sweet smile of the Lord, it has the potency to crush our false pride. That way we can serve the Vaishnavas in the proper frame of mind. So with that, we start our presentation today. So here we go. All right. So today we will be discussing our next topic, which is Jiva Daya, and how Jiva Daya is, it is in fact the summum bonum of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. And if we actually look at the entire life of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, then we can see that right from Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu's childhood, in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, he describes the most mesmerizing and the most merciful pastimes of the little boy Nimai, the golden child. Nimai, naughty little Nimai, Sri Vishwambar, the darling of Shachi Mata, and the pride of Jagannath Mishra. How when little Nimai, when he would, he would just sit in his mother's lap, such an innocent child, just looking at him, he would just, make the even stones melt just by looking at this golden, beautiful child. The stones would melt, what to speak of the hearts of everyone who saw this golden child. And how Lord Gauranga, he started his Jiva Daya, his compassion to all the living entities, the purpose for which Mahaprabhu came, how he started right from his childhood. Whenever he would cry, the ladies, they would come, they would surround him, and they would chant, Hari Hari, Hari Hari. And little Nimai would just raise his hands and he would dance for their pleasure. Such a beautiful way of just making people chant. This is the most munificent Lord. And when little Nimai was, growing up in the courtyard of Shachimata, one day Anantashesh felt extreme separation. When Anantashesh came, taking the form of a little snake, everyone got scared, but little Nimai, out of his compassion, he started playing. He said, "Hey, Anantashesh, you're here? Come, let's play." And he started playing with Anantashesh. Everyone got so worried. And that, the snake might bite the golden little Nimai. But then Anantashesh started going away because he didn't want to give any trouble or anxiety to the devotees. But Nimai caught hold of Anantashesh. He said, "Why are you going? Don't go. Play with me. Play with me." This is the compassion of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Then we all know the celebrated pastime of Nimai's compassion, his mercy, his daya to the little puppy. And what was the reaction of that puppy? That puppy started chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra by the divine touch of Nimai. This is the potency of Mahaprabhu's compassion. Mahaprabhu's compassion was also, experienced by these two thieves. These two thieves, they actually came with a very, wild desire, an evil desire, because Nimai was always adorned with beautiful jewelry. So these thieves, they said, oh, we want to, take away. This is the best way to take away jewelry from a little child. So they bribed little Nimai with some sweets. And they said, come, Nimai, come, take some sweets. You want some sweets? And Nimai said, yes, Sandesh. Sandesh is my favorite. Give me. And then the thief said, okay, Nimai, we'll take you around. You want to go around? Come with us. And Nimai said, yes, carry me. And by his compassion, the thieves, they carried the Supreme Personality of Godhead on their shoulder. And Nimai was enjoying his Sandesh, and he was taking a beautiful tour around the entire land of Nadia. And the thieves did not even know that what service, what kind of mercy, the compassion that they were receiving from Nimai. And we all know how mercifully Nimai somehow bewildered them. The thieves came and dropped Nimai back to his own home. So this is the most merciful nature of Nimai. Later, when Nimai grew up, we know the celebrated scholar Keshav Kashmiri came to debate with Nimai. And when he came, Nimai heard him very patiently, glorifying with 100 beautiful verses. He glorified Mother Ganga. And Nimai heard it very patiently. And after hearing from Keshav Kashmiri, Nimai pointed out a few defects that Keshav Kashmiri had said. And he was a Digvijay Pandit. He was the most, he was defeating scholars all over. But Nimai, as a young boy, just a mere young boy, defeated Keshav Kashmiri, just pinpricked the balloon of pride of Keshav Kashmiri. He was so hurt. And when that happened that night, Goddess Saraswati came and revealed that who are you taking this kind of enmity with? My husband is actually Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, who you are thinking that is your, opponent. Don't do that. Go and surrender. And Keshav Kashmiri came and surrendered to Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu compassionately just forgave Keshav Kashmiri. Now we all know how Nimai, in his youthful days, he was known as Nimai Pandit. He was the great scholar. But even as the great scholar, Nimai actually did not display any kind of pride. That was the beauty of Nimai's scholarly attributes, that he did not have pride. He just had only humility. So there's a very beautiful pastime, Nimai. When he was going to school of Gangadas Pandit, the toll of Gangadas Pandit. At that time, there was one of his friends, his name was Raghunath, and they were both very good students of the Nyaya philosophy, of logic. So they had received an assignment, and Lord Chaitanya had written a very beautiful, Siddhanta on Nyaya Siddhanta. And Raghunath, he had also written. So both of them were just crossing the Ganga and going to the school the next day, when Raghunath said, oh, Nimai, I have written this book on Nyaya. And Nimai said, oh, really? Even I have written a book on Nyaya. Here, look at that. And then Raghunath became so sad. Raghunath, we can see here in this picture, Raghunath just turned his back, he put his head, and he said, oh, Nimai is such a great Pandit. If he has also written a book on the same subject matter of logic on Nyaya, who is going to read my book? Nobody will read my book. And he was feeling so sad. Raghunath did not tell this to Nimai, but Nimai, the super soul, the Paramatma, in every understood that Raghunath is feeling in this way. And as soon as Mahaprabhu understood that, see what Mahaprabhu did? He took his own book that he had written on Nyaya philosophy, Nyaya Shastra, and Mahaprabhu just immersed it into the Ganga. He just gave Shraddhanjali into the Ganga. He just immersed his writings. That is the reason why we have only one teaching of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu that is written by his own hands, which is the Shikshashtakam. Otherwise, we would have had the Nyaya philosophy also that is written by Gauranga Mahaprabhu. But this is the compassion of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, the mercy of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He didn't want that, he wants prestige or power within, the world. This is how Mahaprabhu exhibited. Later on, we know how Lord Chaitanya, when he received initiation from Srila Ishwara Puripad in Gaya, and then when Mahaprabhu returned, after that, when he came back to Nadia, he came back a completely transformed person. But at that time, when he came back, he used to have the Sankirtan in closed quarters. Mahaprabhu had not taken the Sankirtan out into the streets of Nadia. Mahaprabhu would just do it only with his close associates, very, very, very deep mood, and with all the devotees like Srivas Thakur, Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit is none other than Srimati Radharani. And with such beautiful associates like Narahari Thakur and Sri Advaita Acharya, and with Gadadhar, they would all dance so beautifully in the home of Srivas Thakur. And what was the mood during these kirtans? We see here how Srimati Radharani is singing in separation from Krishna. Along with all her gopis, Srimati Radharani is actually singing and calling out and waiting that Krishna, please come, please come. They are waiting for Krishna. This was the mood in the home of Srivas Thakur at Srivas Angan during those nocturnal kirtans of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Please pay close attention to the next slide. Look at this. The same pose, same associates, the same thing. Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, who is Srimati Radharani herself. He is sitting here along with Gadadhar, with Advaita Acharya. Look at the two similarities of these pictures. How both these personalities, they are calling out in love for Krishna. This is the beauty of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu and the kirtans that were, they would dance. And when they would dance, Advaita Acharya would just stand at a distance. And when Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar would dance, they would look like Sri Radha and Krishna in Rasa Leela. So here we see how Gaur and Gadai were just like Sri Radhe and Krishna and Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur, all of them would have this vision that these nocturnal kirtans were just a manifestation of the actual rasa dance that was taking place in Vrindavan. This is the transcendental, Sankirtan movement of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. But Gauranga Mahaprabhu did not take this Sankirtan movement out. Why? Because Gauranga Mahaprabhu was waiting for the arrival of Avadhut Mahashraya Sri Nityananda Ram. And at that time, Nityananda Prabhu, he was actually, traveling all over India, and he was also waiting for Gauranga Mahaprabhu to become a devotee and inaugurate the Sankirtan movement. And he was waiting in Vrindavan. And as soon as he heard that Gauranga Mahaprabhu it has started, Nityananda Prabhu, who is brilliantly effulgent like the sun, Sri Nityananda Ram, he immediately, look at his golden body. His divine body is like Mount Sumeru, beautiful, beautiful golden body of Lord Nityananda. And when Lord Nityananda, when he would cry, the glowing face of Lord Nityananda, it would eclipse thousands of moons together. This is the beauty of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And such a captivating smile that just by smiling, anyone who sees Lord Nityananda Prabhu smiling, they would just faint in ecstasy. And then the radiant pearl-like teeth of Sri Nityananda Ram would just glisten while he would just open his transcendental mouth in glorifying Krishna, and his lotus eyes would steal the tinge of the morning sun. You know, when Lord Nityananda Prabhu would open his eyes, it was like two suns. The sun is rising like that. And he has such beautiful, long, long arms and robust chest, strong shoulders. This is the magnanimity of Lord Nityananda. And when he would dance, you know, the Brajvasis in Vrindavan, they would just be mesmerized looking at Lord Nityananda. But he would just be in his own world. He would just dance like this. He would not preach to anybody. The soft lotus feet then traveled from Vrindavan. He came to Nadia. And when he came, he hid in the home of Sri Nandanacharya. And then Lord Nityananda was found by Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu himself, and both their lordships met. And when both the lordships met, Gaura Nitai met, the devotees, their ecstasy knew no bounds. They were so blissful. They felt, you know, as soon as Nityananda Prabhu actually saw Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu just collapsed in the arms of Lord Gauranga. And devotees could visualize that just like Lakshmana had collapsed in the arms of Lord Ramachandra, in the same divine way, Lord Nityananda Prabhu collapsed in the arms of Lord Chaitanya. And when both the lordships, they revived again, with great ecstasy, the devotees started chanting Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. This is the first time in history that looking at the blissful exchange of Gaura and Nityananda, the devotees coined this phrase, and it was spoken for the first time in history. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. This is the divinity of the meeting of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, which is the embankment, which is the embarkment actually of the start of the actual Jiva Daya. This is the point that Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu's meeting, that Jiva Daya, what is Jiva Daya? Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu is now going to start exhibiting to the world that what compassion actually means. So by the arrival of Lord Nityananda, both the brothers, they would just dance in ecstasy on the streets of Nadia, and devotees, they would accompany the Lord. They would all come, and Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya, they would just go on dancing around the streets of Nadia. And they would actually impel everyone. They would encourage everyone to join the Sankirtan. And looking at them, the entire residents of Nadia, they would all follow in the Sankirtan of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, and they would just pour down the ecstasy of Sri Krishna upon all the people who would participate in their nectarian chanting. This is how Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, they started displaying such compassion, such mercy to all the residents of Nadia. And of course, we know how when they would cry, it would actually seem that rains are pouring down. And just being drenched in the tears, the loving tears of Sri Gaura and Nitai, all the residents of Nadia, their lives, oh Krishna, their lives were just, they were living in the spiritual world, just witnessing the transcendental dance of Sri Gaura and Nitai. Then we all know the transcendental pastime of the first civil disobedience movement that Nityananda Prabhu and Gauranga Mahaprabhu organized. to Chandkazi, deliverance of Chandkazi, how Lord Chaitanya, he convinced Chandkazi that please allow the devotees to chant. And Chandkazi made his promise, because of course I won't get into the details of the pastime, but Chandkazi also was revealed in a dream by Lord Nrsingadev in the night that you better go and beg forgiveness from the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, I'm coming back tomorrow night and I'm going to rip your head apart if you don't beg for forgiveness. Chandkazi, the very next day, came and begged forgiveness from Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And he made a promise that neither me nor any of my descendants will ever oppose the Sankirtan mission. And till today, that is followed, because in Mayapur, when we are going to Mayapur, if all of us have been there, we'll see the Chandkazi area is all Mohammedan area, but they love the devotees. And that's how we see such beautiful way that Lord Chaitanya, he was just transforming by his Sankirtan. He was just transforming everybody to chant the holy names. And Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan never knew, his Sankirtan would start as, it's sung very famously. Udilo rulo purabo bhage, dvijamoni goro moni jage, bhakoto sammoha lohiya shate, gela nagar. Lord Chaitanya, as soon as the sun would rise, Lord Chaitanya would take out his Sankirtan party. But that Sankirtan party would even come out at night also. Even at night, the devotees would chant, and they would chant at that time with torchlights so that there would be lights. And Lord Chaitanya would jump in ecstasy. Lord Nityananda, Gadadhar Prabhu, Advaita Gosai, Srivas Thakur, everyone would just dance in ecstasy day and night in Mahaprabhu's compassion. Devotees were soaking in the compassion, in the daya, the supreme mercy of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. However, one time Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu was in deep ecstasy. And when he was in deep ecstasy, he was closing his eyes, he was crying tears of ecstasy, and he was remembering the names of the gopis, and he was just crying in separation. And at that time, some devotees, some non-devotees actually, mistook Lord Gauranga. And Lord Gauranga was crying, and everything was just not understood in the same way. People started misunderstanding Lord Chaitanya. Then he decided, as the supreme most and the ultimate act of compassion, the ultimate act of Jiva Daya, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu thought that I have to now do something that may not please my family, but I have to do this for the well-being of the people in general. Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu decided to leave home and accept the renounced order of life. He had his newly married wife, Srimati Vishnupriya Devi, his old mother, widowed mother, Shachi Mata, but Gauranga Mahaprabhu left them. This is the ultimate act of Jiva Daya. And then Gauranga Mahaprabhu sacrificed his beautiful long hair. And in the city of Katwa from Keshav Bharati, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu accepted the sannyas order of life. And when he accepted the sannyas order of life, why did Gauranga Mahaprabhu do this as the ultimate act of compassion? Because Mahaprabhu knew that the people of Kali Yuga are so fallen, but they at least have some respect for a sannyasi. So Gauranga Mahaprabhu thought that if these people are making offense to me, the Supreme Lord, how can I give them Krishna Prem? I cannot. But as a sannyasi, they will at least respect me. And when they respect me, then at least I will be able to give them Krishna Prema. So with that, and following his mother's request, Lord Chaitanya made Sri Jagannath Puri as his headquarters and lived in Jagannath Puri, started living there in Jagannath Puri. And Mahaprabhu, while living in Jagannath Puri, also his heart was always wanting to go to Vrindavan. And we all know while traveling to Vrindavan, another act of compassion. Jiva Daya, Jiva Daya, not just to the jivas in the human form of life, but to even the animal form of life. Lord Chaitanya, when he was passing through the Jharkhand forest, he made these animals, the tigers, the elephants, the deers, hug each other, embrace each other, cry, and chant Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is how we see Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu exhibiting supreme mercy, Jivadaya, upon all living entities without any distinction. So now we'll just take a little detour, a little step back, and let us try to prove the supremacy of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And there are four parameters which are safe. SAFE. S stands for scriptural authority. A stands for astrology and attributes. F stands for follow authorities. And E stands for extraordinary activities. And let us see how Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he fits all these safe parameters so that, foolish living entities who doubt the supremacy of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu can identify Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we all know the scriptural authority from the Srimad Bhagavatam, how in the 11th canto it is said, Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam, that in this age of Kali, intelligent persons will engage in the congregational chanting of the holy names, Yagyai Sankirtana Praye Yajanti Sumedasa. And Lord Chaitanya, he came, it is described here that every incarnation comes with a particular weapon. Parashuram came with his axe, Lord Balaram came with his club, Lord Ramachandra came with his bow and arrow. What is the weapon of Lord Gauranga? Here it is revealed in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is said, Sangha Upanga Astra. The second line says this, that his Astra, Lord Chaitanya's weapons are his Sangha and Upangas. His associates are the weapons that Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu brought with him to establish the Sankirtan movement as an act of Jivadaya. Then we also have in the Garud Puran where it is mentioned that in the first part of Kali Yuga, Krishna is declaring this, that I will appear in my complete spiritual form in Mayapur, in Navadvip, and become the son of Shachimata. Again, in the Garud Puran, it is said, in the first part of Kali Yuga, the Supreme Lord in the golden complexion will become the husband of Lakshmi. Then he will become a sannyasi and reside near Lord Jagannath. Then going on, we have, what does astrology say? What are some of the attributes that we can recognize this person as the Supreme Lord? So in the Bhavishya Puran, it is said, O austere sage, everyone will see my transcendental form as a sannyasi in the age of Kali. I will be displaying symptoms like shedding tears of bliss and hair standing on end out of ecstasy. On the full moon day of the Falgun month, conjoined with the Falguni star, I will appear in my golden form, begotten by Purandara. Purandara is another name of Jagannath Mishra. This is in the Vayu Puran, and of course, in the Vishnu Sahasranam, we know this very, 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 very famous verse. Suvarna Varna Hemango Varangas Chandanangadi Sannyasa Krit Shama Shanta Nishta Shanta Parayana. How Lord Chaitanya is, his attributes, what he's going to do, everything is there revealed in the scriptures. What does authorities say? Well, we have Goddess Saraswati herself. She revealed the supremacy of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. to Keshav Kashmiri, Lord Nrsimhadev. He revealed the supremacy to Chand Khasi. Sri Advaita Acharya, he accepted Advaita Acharya as Mahavishnu. He accepted Lord Chaitanya as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then we also have Prakashananda Saraswati, the great Mayavadi leader. He accepted Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And of course, we have our very own dear Srila Prabhupada, who established Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead based on revealed scriptures. Now let's see some of the extraordinary activities of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, which we can identify him as the Supreme Lord. We know this childhood pastime of Lord Chaitanya, how Nimai reveals himself as Gopal to this Brahmana, and he just, revealed that, look, I am that same Krishna. Then Nimai also, he just reveals even to Kolavecha Sridhar, and during the Mahaprakash Leela, Lord Chaitanya revealed himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not just to Kolavecha Sridhar, but to many, 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 many fortunate devotees. He revealed to Murari Gupta his form as Varahadev, and also, of course, as Lord Ramachandra. Lord Chaitanya revealed the universal form to Sri Advaita Acharya. And Lord Chaitanya, of course, revealed his six-handed form to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Lord Chaitanya revealed that he is non-different from Sri Sri Radha and Krishna to the most celebrated devotee, Sri Ramananda Roy. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. And of course, Lord Chaitanya reveals to a South Indian Brahmana his form as Lord Ramachandra himself. So the Supreme Lord, by his actions, by his extraordinary pastimes, he has revealed that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So therefore, we can very, very clearly identify the Supreme Lord as Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, who is Avatari. He is not an avatar. He is not an incarnation. Lord Chaitanya is actually the fountainhead of all incarnations. He is the fountainhead. He is the source of all incarnations. He is Krishna himself. So, as we know, the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna has come with the mood of Srimati Radharani. As Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he sings in his most celebrated song of Sharanagati. Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jiva Daya Kuri Shaparshad Shiyodhamo Shahodori, which means Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that the Supreme Lord Krishna, he has come with all of his parshada, with all of his associates directly from the spiritual world of Goloka Vrindavan. And why has he come? As the supreme act of Jiva Daya, to give mercy without any condition. Now let's look at what Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu says in this connection of Jiva Daya. So in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Adi Leela, chapter 9, text 25, it is said, Urumbara vriksha jano phalo sarvo ange, ei moto bhakti vrikshe sarvatra phalo lage. As we can see this picture, it is a fig tree. Many of us might have seen a fig tree. So this analogy is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which says that just as a big fig tree, it bears fruits all over its body. Each part of the tree of devotional service also bears fruit. So this bhakti lata, when it becomes bhakti vriksha, this bhakti vriksha is not a word that was coined just like that. It is directly from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, this bhakti vriksha. that it bears fruits just like a fig tree all over its body. So since Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu is the original trunk of this bhakti tree, the taste of the fruits that grew on the branches and the sub branches, which are marked by Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar Prabhu, Srivas Thakur, they also, all of them surpassed the nectar of these fruits. So these fruits, they ripened, they became sweet and so nectarian. And the gardener, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, as you can see here in this picture, that Gauranga Mahaprabhu is the trunk. He's the main trunk of this bhakti tree, but Gauranga Mahaprabhu is also the gardener who is pouring water at the roots of this bhakti tree. That is the transcendental nature of this bhakti tree. And this transcendental gardener, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he distributed this fruit to everybody without asking for any price. And wherever, without any distinction, Mahaprabhu just distributed the fruits. And Mahaprabhu says that since the tree of devotional service is transcendental, every one of its parts can actually perform the action of all the others. Just like how we say Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vritti Manti, that the Lord's senses are transcendental. They can perform the actions of each other's senses. So Lord Chaitanya is saying that this bhakti tree is so glorious that actually, the branch can also perform the job of the trunk, of the root. It can perform the job of a fruit also. That is the glory of this bhakti tree. Then in the same chapter, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu himself is declaring in text 34, very, very, very important verse. He's saying, Ekola malikaro ami, kaha kaha jabo, ekila koto padiya bilabo. Gauranga Mahaprabhu is saying, I am the only gardener. How many places can I go alone? How many fruits can I pick alone and distribute myself? It would be a very laborious task to pick all the fruits and distribute them alone. And still, I feel that some might get and some might not get also, because how can I alone do this job? So this is the mood of Srimati Radharani. You remember, Gauranga Mahaprabhu is none other than Sri Krishna himself in the divine mood of Srimati Radharani. The compassionate mood of Srimati Radharani is so supreme. It is the highest. Because one time, it was the appearance day of Srimati Radharani, and Maharaj Vrishabhanu, he was, offering a feast to the entire Barshana, all the residents of not just Barshana, but even the entire Braj, Churasi Kos, 84 crores of Brajamandala were all invited to the appearance day of Srimati Radharani, and Maharaj Vrishabhanu was giving charity of prasadam to everyone. And Vrishabhanu Maharaj had made an announcement that please come with a patra. Patra means like a bowl, so that I can give you all the prasadam. So everybody came with a collecting pot, so they could collect the charity that was being given by Maharaj Vrishabhanu. But there was one person who somehow just came and he did not have a patra. He did not have a collecting bowl. And Maharaj Vrishabhanu said, oh, you don't have a bowl? How can I give you charity then? How can I do that? And seeing that, Srimati Radharani became so sad that how can someone not get charity because he does not have a patra? Oh no, and Srimati Radharani just started crying and crying. And in her tears, she was just thinking that, oh, I just wish that if any people, even if they don't have a patra, they would be able to get the charity. This is the compassion of Srimati Radharani. And at that particular moment, although Krishna was not present physically with Srimati Radharani, but understanding the heart of Srimati Radharani, Krishna revealed something very, very deep to Srimati Radharani, which was visualized to Srimati Radharani. Krishna revealed that Sri Radhe, I promise you, to fulfill your desire, I will come taking on your merciful mood as this beautiful golden Brahman. I will take your mood. I will take your complexion also, this golden complexion of yours, which is so dear to me. I will bring that. And with that, I will distribute this pure love, your charity, the charity of your love that you have for me. I will distribute that to anybody and everybody. I will not see whether a person has a collecting bowl, a patra or not. Now, patra in Sanskrit means a collecting bowl, but patra also means eligibility. Eligibility. So Mahaprabhu said, I will not consider whether a person is eligible or not, whether they have any collecting bowl or not, whether they are, no discrimination. I will give your love that you have for me. I will freely distribute it to everybody. This was the promise that Krishna made to Srimati Radharani. And hearing this, Srimati Radharani was so happy. She became so jubilant. She became so happy that another vision, Srimati Radharani, in her vision, she just envisioned something very beautiful. What was that vision? This was that vision, that in her supreme love for Krishna, Srimati Radharani, she envisioned herself standing under a big fruit tree, and she was standing like this. But because she was of a deep attachment to Krishna, she actually took on the complexion of Sri Krishna. We can see here a blue Srimati Radharani. This is the love of Srimati Radharani manifesting. And she could see this in action, that, Krishna is actually manifesting here and she's distributing the fruits to everyone. And here, right here, Lord Chaitanya, Krishna fulfilled his promise to Srimati Radharani, and standing in that very same pose that Sri Krishna had shown to Srimati Radharani, standing in that very same pose, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu distributed the love of Krishna, the fruit of love of Krishna to everybody without any without any discrimination. This is the compassion. This is the daya of Sri Radhe. This is the compassion of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So then Mahaprabhu says, continuing back in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says that I am therefore instructing you, অতএব আমি আজ্ঞা দিলু সবাকারে, যাহা তাহা প্রেম ফল দেহ যারে তারে, that I am giving you this instruction, that go around and just distribute this pure love of the fruit of Krishna Prema to everyone. I am the only gardener, Mahaprabhu is saying. If I do not distribute these fruits, what will I do with them? How much can I alone eat? I cannot. So therefore, distribute this Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Let people eat these fruits and ultimately become free from old age and death. Then comes our most celebrated verse in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the same chapter, chapter 9, text 41, the most famous verse. Bharat bhumite hoilo manusya janma jay, janma sarthaka kori karo paropakar. Anyone who has taken their birth as a human being in the land of Bharatavarsha in India, they should make their life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. This is the instruction of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport to this verse that although Mahaprabhu says Bharata Varsha, Bharata Bhumi, Lord Chaitanya actually means that anybody who has received Krishna, it is their duty to give that same Krishna to others. This is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. So not just people who are from India, even surpassing the bodily concept of life, our Acharya Srila Prabhupada has declared that this is the responsibility of everyone in this movement of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu to follow this principle of distributing love of God to everyone. So how can we truly follow this instruction of Lord Gauranga of Jiva Daya? It is actually only by the mercy of the most compassionate Sri Nityananda Ram. He is the only personality who is actually considered to be more merciful than even Lord Chaitanya himself. And he actually, Nityananda is the only one who can actually order Lord Gauranga. He's the only one who can actually control Lord Gauranga. He's the only one who can even chastise Lord Gauranga. That's the only personality that is Lord Nityananda Ram. So then we see how Lord Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, his compassion knew no bounds. We know the famous and the most celebrated pastime of Jagai and Madhai. Jagai Madhai did not even want. They were running away, and Lord Nityananda Prabhu was running after them. Don't go, here, take the holy names. Just one time, Jagai, one time, Madhai, please. Say Krishna, please, one time. And Madhai got so angry that he took a broken clay pot and he just struck at the forehead of Lord Nityananda, and blood was oozing out. And as soon as that happened, Lord Nityananda sang, Mere chish koloshir kana, tabole ki prem dibona, that you, Madhai, you have struck me with this clay pot, but would that mean that I will not give you Krishna prem? I will still give you Krishna prem. And that changed the heart of Madhai. And he said, how can someone be so merciful? They immediately came and begged forgiveness from Sri Nityananda Ram. But at the same time, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he was not present on the scene, and Lord Chaitanya ran to the scene invoking his Sudarshan Chakra. And we can see how Lord Nityananda, the most compassionate Nityananda Ram, he is just saying, Mahaprabhu, stop. Please stop. Don't. If you are going to kill Jagai and Madhai, then you have to kill everybody in Kali Yuga. Everybody in Kali Yuga have to be killed then. But you have not come here in Kali Yuga to kill demoniac people, but you have come here to kill the demoniac propensity in everybody. Please forgive them. And Lord Gauranga, immediately being controlled by Nityananda's love, Lord Chaitanya sent Sudarshan back, and he accepted Jagai and Madhai. And when Lord Gauranga, Nityananda Prabhu gave tulasi leaves in the hands of Jagai and Madhai, and it is said when Jagai and Madhai offered those tulasi leaves, when they were accepted by Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu's golden complexion for a moment actually turned black like Krishna. Everybody present saw this. They witnessed this. This was the level of sins that was actually there for Jagai and Madhai, and Gauranga Mahaprabhu absorbed everything just on the request of Nityananda Ram. And at that time, when Jagai and Madhai's sins were absorbed, Chitragupta, sitting in Yamaloka, he fainted. He said, oh no, what happened? Because the Yamadutas, Chitragupta had them working overtime. They were constructing a special hell for Jagai and Madhai to make them suffer for all the sins that they're committing. And in one shot, in 1 second, Chitragupta's accounts were clean. In the accounts of Jagai and Madhai, zero, nil balance. Chitragupta, he just came worried to Yamaraj and he said, Yamaraj, what is happening? See. Yamaraj saw this and he fainted. Hey, what happened? My Yamadutas are working overtime. What's going to happen to them? How can I pay them now? Where is Jagai and Madhai's sins go? Yamaraj fainted. Nobody knew why and how this happened. Yamaraj did not know. And then Lord Shiva, who was residing in Kailash, Lord Shiva, he felt that, oh, my dear friend, Yamaraj is in some kind of trouble. So Lord Shiva, he traveled all the way to Yamaloka. He came and met Yamaraj and said, hey, get up, what's wrong with you? Why are you fainting? And then Chitragupta said, oh, Jagai Madhai, this is what has happened. And then Lord Shiva, he said, I'll tell you what happened. And Lord Shiva just whispered in the ears of Yamaraj the divine transcendental name of Nitai and Gauranga. Nitai Gaura Hari. Nitai Gaura Hari. And hearing this, sound vibration, these transcendental sound vibrations, Lord Shiva himself started doing Tandava dance, and Yamaraj woke up and he also started dancing. All the Yamadutas and everyone started dancing. They had beautiful Gauranga Kirtan. Lord Shiva revealed to Yamaraj. It's the mercy of Lord Nityananda that Jagai and Madhai have now become Jagannath and Madhava. That's their original name, Jagai and Madhai, how they became transformed by this supreme compassion of Sri Nityananda. So Nityananda Prabhu, his mercy has no limit. Lord Chaitanya, he is so merciful, but Lord Chaitanya, he actually can tolerate everything. But Lord Chaitanya does not tolerate Vaishnava Parad. Lord Chaitanya is very, very strict only on this one aspect. You see, we can see from the pastime of Chapal Gopal. Chapal Gopal had committed offense to Srivas Thakur and he started suffering from leprosy. He came and begged forgiveness from Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya said, I can't do anything. You have to go and beg forgiveness from my devotee whom you offended. Then we'll see. Chapal Gopal ran to Srivas Thakur and begged forgiveness. Please forgive me. Srivas, I have offended you so much. But then Srivas Thakur, he just embraced Chapal Gopal and said, no, nothing like that. I have not at all felt any offense. And then immediately, by the mercy of Srivas Thakur, Lord Chaitanya gave his mercy to Chapal Gopal. So, as we were discussing last time, that we must be very careful of Vaishnava Aparadha. Very, very careful. So, therefore, we must always focus our mind on actually serving the Vaishnavas, glorifying the Vaishnavas. When we glorify the Vaishnavas, then automatically we are taken away from aparadha. We cannot commit aparadha if our consciousness is always filled with service to the Vaishnavas. So Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, we thought that a beautiful way of ending and concluding today's session would be that if we can have a visual meditation on Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, that when we are thinking of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, his complete form should actually manifest in our hearts. So we thought that a beautiful meditation would be very appropriate in this occasion, that we can conclude our session by meditating on the divine form of Sri Gaura Hari, and let us beg to Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who is more merciful than Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, that may we be able to capture this vision of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu in our hearts. And we may never be able to let go of this, and Lord Chaitanya may make our hearts his residence. So let us take shelter at the divine, transcendental, tender lotus feet of Sri Gaura Hari, which is the perfection of our life. Lord Gauranga's body is decorated with sandalwood paste. Lord Gauranga is actually as tender and delicate as a white lotus. Lord Gauranga's divine body is as soft like butter. It's as if Shachimata would say that when the sun would rise, she would fear that Lord Gauranga's body would melt, because that's how Lord Gauranga's body is. It's as if he's made out of butter. So beautiful, so delicate. And Lord Gauranga's, when he would open his eyes, it would be the rising of the sun. That's how beautiful Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, his eyes look. And the divine face of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, it is actually the embodiment of all rasas. His captivating lotus eyes, which display intense attachment to Sri Krishna. The honey-like sweet smile of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, this sweet honey smile of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, it actually has the potency to destroy our false pride. So let us meditate on this honey-like sweet smile of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Gauranga Mahaprabhu's body is like lightning, and his face is as brilliant and effulgent like the moon. Such beauty. And when Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, when he passes by, we are filled with the divine fragrance of the lotus hands and the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, where tulasi with chandan and camphor and saffron is adorned, and beautiful forest flowers are decorating his chest. So we are filled with the divine fragrance of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. The nails on the fingers of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, they seem to illuminate the entire universe. The captivating moon-like face of Lord Chaitanya. So much beauty holds in this one vision of the moon-like face of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu always on his, bright, big forehead, he always adorns it with shining tilak. The jewels on the body increase our attraction to Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, the jewels that Mahaprabhu wears on his divine body. The tulasi that bathes, the honey that bathes the body of Mahaprabhu is our only, sweetness, that it sweetens our entire spiritual life. And Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, this is his ultimate act of compassion, that we can, by the mercy of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, what he brought the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We can now further that by becoming a worthy instrument in the hands of our spiritual master. One thing that Srila Prabhupada would always say, that our parampara, because of Narad Muni, we have been cursed. There's a curse upon our parampara, which is actually a blessing. That Narad Muni had the blessing in disguise, a curse in disguise. It was a blessing, which was that he received this curse that he cannot stay in one place. He has to travel all over the universe. And Srila Prabhupada, he would say, because Narada Muni is our Acharya in our parampara, this curse is also passing down. So Srila Prabhupada said, I have been traveling therefore all over the world. And I have been, taking the message of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu to everyone and anyone whom I come in touch with, and giving the message of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu to everyone. That is the compassion of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. That is the ultimate act of that we can perform to please Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said that anyone who declares to be my follower should try to do this. And Srila Prabhupada said, this is my request, that please, whoever we come in touch with, let us try to offer Krishna to them. Because, remember this wonderful statement, a rolling stone gathers no moss. If we are always, meeting with new people, giving Krishna to others, then we won't get stagnant in our spiritual life. We will always be filled with enthusiasm. We can see that in the life of Srila Prabhupada, that who can look at him and say that he is a 70-year-old man, Srila Prabhupada, so blissful. He had the vigor of a young boy. And that is because of his deep attachment to Gauranga Mahaprabhu, deep attachment to his spiritual master to fulfill the mission of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. পৃথিবীতে আছে যত নগরাদি গ্রাম সর্বত্র প্রচার হইবে মোর নাম, that in every town and village the names of Lord Gaurahari would be chanted. Srila Prabhupada made that his life's mission. And if we want to make our life successful, then we must assist Srila Prabhupada in this divine Sankirtan movement of Srila Prabhupada and participate in this mission of Srila Prabhupada of giving Krishna to others as the supreme act of compassion coming down from Srimati Radharani herself in the form of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And by the mercy and the protection of Lord Nityananda, the Adi Guru, we can all be preachers. And Srila Prabhupada said that we don't have to be, you know, great pundits, great scholars in order to be, giving Krishna to others. Srila Prabhupada would say even little Saraswati who was just 5 years old at that time. Srila Prabhupada said even she is a preacher. That if we know that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, let us just go and share that. Let us give some prasad to someone. Let us just make them hear the holy names. That in itself is giving Krishna to others. So in this way, let us make ourselves as a humble instruments in the hands, humble, worthy instruments in the hands of our spiritual masters, so that we can follow this instruction of Srila Prabhupada and Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu of Jiva Daya, of giving Krishna to others and make our lives a grand success. Just like, Krishna, he said to Arjuna that, when Arjuna was refusing to fight, Krishna said that whether you fight or not, I have already killed. I showed you my universal form. I've already killed these people. But you can become glorious if you can just be a nimitta matra bhava sabyasachi. That you can just be an instrument and then your life will become glorious, O Arjuna. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya's prediction, Srila Prabhupada says this, that Lord Chaitanya's prediction of this entire world being immersed with Krishna prema, it is going to be fulfilled. Now it is our prerogative. If we want to make our lives glorious, if we want to make our lives successful, then we will participate in the Sankirtan mission of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu and become a worthy instrument in the hands of our spiritual masters and try to give Krishna to others. With this, we conclude our session. Please forgive me for the delay, but we are open for hearing any questions, comments, realizations, reflections. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai. Sri Nityananda Rama ki jai. Iskon Vartaman Guru Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Her Grace Kalasudha Mataji ki jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Oh my God, what a beautiful, beautiful session, Mataji. What a beautiful meditation. You immersed us in the pages of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, whole Gaura Leela in just, 1 hour, 15 minutes or so. It was such a beautiful session. We can't be thankful enough to you, Mataji, for all these 3 sessions, but especially today's session. It was so, so beautiful. And how beautifully you connected. I was wondering when, I was thinking like, okay, how Mataji is going to present on Jiva Daya, maybe about preaching, maybe about this, but how you presented it's just mind-blowing. Through the pages of Chaitanya Charitamrita in Gaur Leela, you connected the mercy of Srimati Radharani And then that comes in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that took shape of the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, and how it came to us through Srila Prabhupada. How beautifully you connected, and oh my God, it was just so beautiful. We're so grateful, Mataji. Thank you so very
My Prabhu, he, is the inspirer in all of this. My Prabhu gave all these things, the different points that I spoke. So it is all glories to him.
much. Chandra Prabhu ki. And when you were presenting the slideshow, I was just thinking how much effort, how much compassion you and Prabhu put into these slides in terms of so much, effort it takes to get these beautiful pictures, putting into slide, and that's nothing but your compassion, your Jiva Daya to all of us. We are so grateful, Mataji. Thank you so much. Jai, Jai. Okay, as Mataji kindly said, she'll be happy to take any comments, questions, or anything. Anyone has any realizations, reflections, today's session or last three sessions, anything anyone would like to share, please feel free. You can raise your hand on the Zoom and you can unmute in order to speak. Okay, we have Shamla Gopika Mataji. Okay, Mataji, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dear devotees, please accept my humble and pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada, Jai Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji. Words will not be enough for your beautiful session to merge our mood in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, beautiful form. And I never see a beautiful Radharani in the bluish form. So it was so beautiful. It was really so beautiful. And when you sing the Bengali bhajan also, it reminds me of His Holiness Bhakti Saraswati Maharaj. Like it was very beautifully you sang. So very beautiful meditation for God. Mataji. Thank you so much. I just want to express my sincere gratitude for your beautiful narration.
Bhakti Charu Maharaj, when he visited us, he sang this song after taking prasad at our home, and it's just so beautiful to sing with Sri Bhakti Charu Maharaj. It's especially this particular bhajan. Maharaj told us that he holds it very dear to his heart, the Sharanagati bhajan, and Maharaj has given several sessions just on this around the world. There's so many of these lectures, but Maharaj very mercifully sang this bhajan when he had visited us. So it's very special, very special. Thank you.
Jai, wonderful. Thank you, Shamla Gopika Mataji. Okay, let's see if there is anyone else would like to. Okay, Premalatika would like to share or go ahead, Premalatika.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. Mataji, I have a question. Like you have been telling about compassion and helping others, through spirituality or in general also, right? So sometimes it happens that we really want to serve, as a family, or maybe, one person in the family is much more compassionate than other, and then we have to be on the same page, or balance ourselves, and then sometimes it disturbs within the family disturbance, and we really want to do it, but it's, some people are limited. How can we really help each other in that way?
When Lord Ramachandra was building the bridge across to Lanka, Hanuman was doing it with huge mountains and huge trees. And there was a little squirrel that was also doing its part by putting in pebbles, So yes, some in the family, when we are living in a family, you see these 5 fingers, they're not all the same. So no two people are the same. They will have different ways, different time that they can do it. But if you're especially living in the same household, and if we should try and see what we can work out best as a family and help each other in that way. Like everyone has, Srila Prabhupada says that everyone, if you see the Acharya series, there's a very beautiful pastime there in the Acharya series of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada sitting in a room conversation and Hayagriva Prabhu, they don't show Hayagriva Prabhu walking in, but Srila Prabhupada's face just lits up when Hayagriva Prabhu walks in and he says, "Oh, Hayagriva Prabhu, you are here. You have such beautiful qualities to serve Krishna." And then Srila Prabhupada says, everyone, all of you have such beautiful qualities to serve Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada says that every one of us, we all have, even some way or the other, we can serve Krishna to the best of our ability. So that we must, especially when we're living in a household, a close household, then yes, there will be variegated, levels. There are children in the family, husband, wife, parents, everyone is there. Then we must see each other's, which is our weakness, which is our strength, and try to combine forces, and then try to do the best that we can. So hope that helps.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hey. Thank you, Primlatika. Okay, so next looks like Radhika Rati Mataji is having issues for raising hand here. So Mataji, if you are there, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, goes to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Mataji, very wonderful class from last 2 weeks. You're very inspiring, and I could, I felt like you're so empowered, like by Prabhupada and your Guru Maharaj. Very grateful to have your association. So, Mataji, today's class so wonderful because you have engaged us visually with those beautiful slides, and of course your Vani. When your class started, I was listening to your class and seeing the slides. There was a doorbell, so I went and opened the door. There were a group of ladies. I think they came with the Bibles in their hands, and they were started reading the verses from their Bible. So I invited them inside to take darshan of my deities, but they did not come in. But I took Bhagavad Gita in my hand and I started, telling them what I got from Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj, the instructions. So I literally summarized the whole Bhagavad Gita to them. So I was like, I missed your class for almost 35 minutes. So I kind of convinced them to an extent. They took down the instructions. I would try to give them Bhagavad Gita, but they did not take. They were so hesitant, like a little bit kind of scared kind of thing. But she took down the website details, where to go to know more and all that. So after I finished that, and then I got on to your class, you were explaining beautifully about the service, and you were almost at the conclusion, part. So I could see, I personally felt there is some connection, your class and listening to you, and then I kind of, my mood was completely into this, and then these ladies appeared at my door, and then I happened to talk to them about all those. Thank you so much for that motivation and inspiration through your classes, Mataji, last 2 weeks and today. And today, it really, as Divyanand Prabhuji said, exceptionally great, because the visual engagement was so impactful. So I want to say, my heartfelt thank you. And I want to request, I know it's a lot of effort to bring all those slides and appropriately, present it along with the discussions. But is there any way, is it possibility to share those slides, Mataji? Because I kind of take some very formal sessions with different people, and that I felt like those will be very good in visual engagement. So just checking if possible, let me know. Thank you so much. Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much, Hare Krishna. It's wonderful that Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu gave you such a wonderful preaching opportunity. So happy to hear that. Thank you for sharing, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Thank you, Radhikarati Mataji, for sharing that. And looks like we have a couple more hands up. Amrita Radhika Mataji. Please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Danda Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Amrita Radhika.
Hare Grace, Kalasudha Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. I will offer my obeisances to you at your lotus feet, as well as your Prabhuji and all the assembled devotees. I wanted to thank you so much for the class. I love the how you did the acronym, the SAFE. So I never heard that. I'm going to practice and memorize that so that I can use that. I was very inspired by Mataji right before me, speaking about what, propagating Krishna consciousness to others, and this is wonderful opportunity, for us. We learn so much from you. And it's just incredible. It's like, how can she hold so much information in that tiny little body? And then you talk about Srila Prabhupada. He was such a small man, but such vigor. He was huge, in spirit, in his soul. And that's what I always see in you. Such a huge spirit and soul, and so kind and merciful. So I want to thank you very much. I've enjoyed these last three Saturdays so much. Hare Krishna. Haribo.
Thank you. Haribo.
Haribo. Haribo.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare.
And also thank you to you for reminding us of His Holiness Kadambakananda Swami Maharaj, his beautiful and glorious journey back home is taking place. So thank you for bringing Maharaj's memory to us. Thank you very much. Jai. Okay, looks like we have Krishna Sharanam Prabhu next. Please go ahead, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
All
Mataji.
glories to
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna, Mataji.
Sai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari.
Haribo.
So such a beautiful session, Mataji. So many pastimes that we can just meditate until, Gaura Purnima. Not only until that, but we can always meditate on Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And we can always remember Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Such a beautiful class. So many pastimes here mentioned. Some are, they sound like new. Some are new, some are old, but very, very, very beautiful. And the pictures are so beautiful, Mataji. I don't know how you collect, where you collect. Looks like you draw them, some of them yourself. But of course, you are so talented. You are Kalasudha. So, Mataji, thank you very much for sharing. And it's really, really, really wonderful class. Thank you again. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna,
Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jai.
Thank you, Boo. Hare
Beautiful, so heartwarming to see. There's so many hearts full of gratitude and love. So wonderful, and I can't stop. But there's a wonderful comment here in the chat box. Why just 3 sessions? Why not 300 sessions? Absolutely, Nandini Santil Kumar. Oh, Santil, oh Jai. That is so true, Mataji. Okay, so looks like no more hands are raised. And again, on behalf of all the devotees, so many devotees joined us on these 3 sessions from literally all over the world. On behalf of all of them, our sincere gratitude to you, Mataji, for giving us your precious time and so much love and compassion through these sessions. It was truly, truly wonderful. just for devotees, there are so many such sessions, Mataji and Prabhu, they're taking on regular basis in different yatras, and they have a wonderful collection of these recordings on their YouTube channel called Advaita Kalasudha. You can just Google it, you'll find it. And there's so many such beautiful, beautiful sessions. So please take advantage of those recordings. And also these 3 sessions are recorded on ISKCON Richmond YouTube channel. And also, I guess Mataji's, they're gonna upload on their channel also. Oh, looks like we have one more hand raised, so we don't want to lose that. Oh, Shaili Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much Mataji for this beautiful series. Actually, I have just one question regarding some other series. I was watching your Bhagavatam series Mataji, that is in Hindi, in your YouTube channel. So yeah, actually I'm not sure Mataji, that series is still like you completed that series or is still in like progress, because that is yeah.
Yes, I had stopped it in between, but I intend to continue it. So please bless me so we can continue it.
Please do, Mataji. I'm literally waiting. Those videos were so nice, and you explained all the chapters so nicely. I really request you, Mataji, please continue that series. Thank you so much, Mataji.
As a service to you, we will definitely do that.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Jai, thank you, Shaili Mataji, for informing us about that series also. We'll definitely look at it. And there's so much of gratitude coming through the chats also. So Gayatri Mataji and someone named iPhone also sharing their hearts. So again, unfortunately, it's coming to close, but it's not closing at all, because we, with all the devotees of Richmond and other parts of the world, we request Mataji and Prabhu to please consider our humble request and invitation, our heartfelt invitation to come down to Richmond now in person. Yes.
We look forward to it, Prabhuji. We are so humbled. We are so grateful. Thank you.
Okay, so with just one last announcement about this upcoming Gaura Purnima festival. So those who are in and around Richmond area, I would like to just quickly share our poster. We will be having a wonderful celebration of Sri Gaura Purnima Maha Mahotsav on March 6th, which is Monday, just 2 days from now. And the program is going to start at 5 p.m. at our temple location, which is given here. And then we're going to have so many wonderful festivities. There will be a very special drama by kids. Of course, Mahabhishekam of the Lordship, so many kirtan, bhajans, and wonderful feast, Chapan Bhoga. So please, if you're around this area, please join us for the festival. And if you would like to contribute, if you would like to serve in any way, please feel free to contact Navina Radha Mataji here, or you can contribute through our website, or you can contact us, if you would like to render some service at the temple. We'll be very, very happy and grateful to you. So with that, once again, thank you all for joining, and thank you, Kalasudha Mataji. And if devotees would like, you can open up your mic and share your heart, speak out your heart to Mataji, and invite Mataji for Richmond. Please go ahead. You can, yeah. Okay, now you can unmute yourselves and.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please come to
Hare
Richmond.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna
so much,
Mataji.
Mataji. Please visit us in
Hare
Richmond.
Krishna
We
Mataji,
very
Dandavat Pranam.
patient.
Thank you so much,
We
Mataji.
eagerly look forward to serving all of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Tagore, Premanandi.
Hare Hare Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.